Federico Chiesa is washed. He's not the player he once was. Liverpool desperately needed a number 6, a new centre-back, and now we're chasing a backup winger. Chances are you've seen similar reactions since Fabrizio Romano broke the news that the Reds have reached an agreement with Juventus for the 26-year-old winger, Federico Chiesa. You might even agree with the sentiment that signing him makes little sense, especially with the abundance of talent Liverpool already has in the attacking department. Well, we recently posted a video where we touched on Chiesa's top attributes and why he fits the mold of a classic Michael Edwards signing, so be sure to check that out. But today we're going to take a deeper dive into what Chiesa can really bring to the table and how he could slot into Arne's slot system. And yes, we enjoyed watching some of Allegri's sufferball just so you don't have to. But before we do get into the video, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool content. First, let's get one thing straight. There's no denying that Federico Chiesa was one of the brightest talents just 3 years ago. He was absolutely tearing up Serie A and played a pivotal role in Italy's triumph at the 2020 European Championship tournament. Unfortunately, an ACL tear at the start of 2022 derailed his momentum, and since then, people have started to forget just how good he really is. Sure, apart from the ACL injury, Chiesa's overall fitness record might not seem ideal, but despite what many believe, his availability hasn't been a major issue. Chiesa started 25 out of 33 league appearances last season, averaging 67 minutes per game. Not too shabby for someone labelled as injury prone, right? In fact, he clocked more minutes than players like Osimhen, Immobile, Lookman, and Samaka. Now, is going after Chiesa a gamble? Of course it is, but it's the kind of low-risk, high-reward gamble that's worth taking. Guys, we're spending £10 million on Chiesa. In today's market, that's practically a steal. Just think about it. We recently sold Bobby Clark to RB Salzburg for around £10 million. See, the only real downside is the possibility that Chiesa's fitness issues might persist. But since he won't be playing a primary role next season, and with Liverpool's new medical staff on board, that risk could be significantly minimised. The potential upside, though, is massive. We're not only just getting a top-tier winger entering his prime, we're doing so while keeping a large portion of our budget intact for future signings, like someone of Kudus' caliber. So we hope that we cleared that up, but we would also love to hear your opinions on the deal, so make sure you do that in the comments below. Now let us proceed to the part you've all been waiting for, our Chiesa analysis. We've often said that Chiesa is a left winger by trade, and that was certainly his go-to position before the ACL injury. However, after watching some footage from last season, it's clear that he's been switching across all frontline positions in every single game. So instead of breaking down Chiesa's performances by each position, let's focus on how he leverages his key attributes across the various roles he's taken on. First up, let's talk about his pace and dribbling. When Chiesa first burst onto the scene, it was his explosiveness and intense runs that grabbed everybody's attention. He had this incredible ability to take on defenders at full speed, driving the ball into dangerous areas and firing off shots from the left half space. However, after his ACL injury in 2022, there's been a widespread belief that he's lost some of that explosiveness, acceleration and pace. But what if we told you that's not the case? Sure, he might have lost a bit of speed due to his knee injury and the fact he's now 26, but when you actually watch him play, especially last season, you'd never guess he was affected by that injury. In fact, as you can see in this plot chart, Chiesa ranks highly among Serie A forwards when it comes to accelerations and dribbles per 90 minutes. If that's not enough, let's take a look at some real game examples from the matches we analysed. Here you can see Chiesa receiving a pass on the left hand side, with a Napoli defender quickly stepping up to intercept the ball. In this instance, Chiesa not only demonstrates his quick reactions and dribbling skills, but also shows that he still has the burst of pace to leave defenders in the dust. With a single touch, he flips the ball over the Napoli defender, who lunges in for the tackle, then proceeds to make a run to the edge of the box before passing the ball into a dangerous area. What's even more impressive is that Chiesa's dribbling isn't limited to open spaces. He's got quick enough feet to navigate tight situations, often using his body to shield the ball while driving forward. It's also important to highlight that Chiesa's dribbling ability isn't one-dimensional. Whether he's on the left or the right, defenders will struggle to predict if he's going to drive the ball down the byline or cut inside. This unpredictability comes from his ability to quickly change direction, aided by his comfort using both feet. Additionally, his unique dribbling posture, hunched over the ball, makes it difficult for the opponents to dispossess him from behind. As a wide player, there's no denying that Chiesa is fearless in 1v1 situations. As we've discussed, he uses his quick feet and unusual posture to navigate tight spaces, while still having the pace to explode into open areas. This is a big reason why he also ranked in the higher percentiles for offensive duels per 90 minutes and offensive duels won. Last season, Chiesa averaged 3.86 attempted take-ons per 90 minutes, with 1.44 of them being successful, proving that he still has the ability to dribble past opponents. However, it's worth noting that he can sometimes get ahead of himself, attempting to dribble out of extremely tight spots, which often results in losing the ball. This is likely why he ranks in the lower 33rd percentile for successful take-on percentage. Now that we've highlighted Chiesa's speeding and dribbling abilities, let's explore how he uses these strengths in one of his key areas: ball carrying. Beyond his role on the wings, we've mentioned that Chiesa also occupied central spaces. This versatility is partly because he is often deployed as a second striker behind Dusan Vlahovic or Milic. Whether he's on the left, right or in central areas, Chiesa uses his dribbling and pace to drive forward, carrying the ball into the final third and the penalty box. The numbers back this up. As you can see here, Chiesa ranks among the top percentiles for carries, progressive carrying distance, and carries into the final third and penalty box compared to other Serie A forwards. Now, we're not sure if you noticed something interesting about the stats we share. If not, let us point it out for you. Chiesa ranked in the 92nd percentile among Serie A forwards for most progressive passes received, with 9 per 90 minutes. And no, this isn't because he's constantly being targeted for long balls over the top, though he's certainly capable of posing a threat from those positions as well. The real reason behind this stat is Chiesa's ability to drop deep and receive the ball between the opposition's lines. For instance, you can see him here dropping into his own half to collect the ball. He then proceeds to carry it into the final third, where he switched the play with a left-footed pass to Kostic wide left. And again here, he is against Monza, dropping deep centrally to receive between the lines. He then takes the ball on the half turn, faces the play, and lays down a simple pass to his teammate. This ability to understand space and receive on the half turn is a big reason why Chiesa was arguably the most threatening player in Juventus' squad last season. In fact, he ranked 6th among Serie A players for expected threat per 90 minutes, with 0.21 XT, matching the numbers of AC Milan's Rafael Leao and Inter's Nico Barella. So how exactly does Chiesa pose a threat when he carries the ball forward or receives it high up the pitch? That's what we'll dive into next. There are two key aspects to discuss, starting with his passing ability. Whether he's on the left or right, Chiesa somewhat surprisingly has a knack for threading passes that set up his teammates for goal-scoring opportunities. He excels at this, particularly when supported by underlapping runs between the opposition centre-backs and full-backs. Let's look at an example. Here you can see him receive the ball wide while his teammates make a run into the right half space. Chiesa, being able to go both ways, cuts inside on his weaker foot, dragging two players to him and creating space for his mate's run. He then proceeds to lay the ball of using his left foot, which ultimately resulted in a dangerous situation for Juventus. Here's another instance, but on the left-hand side this time, where the player retained possession under pressure, using his body to shield the ball. He then managed to drive the ball away after cutting up front of his marker, a technique that he often uses to get away from pressure or win free kicks. He then proceeds to thread in a pass that even surprised his teammates, who didn't see the ball coming from behind two players. Sure, Chiesa might not be widely recognised as a creative force, but his numbers from last season tell a different story. He ranked in the 97th percentile for key passes, averaging 2.29 per 90 minutes, highlighting his ability to help unlock defences. But ground passes aren't the only way Chiesa can create danger. His crossing is another one of his standout attributes, particularly his in-swinging crosses from the left side into the penalty box. Using his dominant right foot, Chiesa's deliveries into the box pose a significant threat, as he often whips in curled, powerful crosses. These crosses not only make life difficult for the opposing goalkeeper, but also increase the risk of the opposition conceding an own goal, just like how Juventus scored their first goal in their 4-2 loss against Sassuolo last season. On the right side, Chiesa can deliver similar in-swinging crosses, though the less frequent and often off slightly lower quality due to his weaker foot when he cuts inside. side. However, when he takes the ball to the byline, he frequently sends in low-driven passes into the penalty box that are just as challenging for the opposition's defense to handle. Whether it's through his passing, dribbling, shooting, or even drawing fouls, Chiesa consistently imposes a threat on the opposition's defense, which is why he's ranked highly in shot and goal-creating actions last season. So we've covered Chiesa's pace, dribbling, ball carrying, and creativity. Now we're left with two more attributes to discuss. First up, his shooting. Last season, the majority of Chiesa's shots came from the left half space, which makes sense given his tendency to cut inside from the left flank to unleash a shot. Chiesa can do both. Curl one in from distance, placing it out of the keeper's reach, or smash the ball with such power that it nearly tears the net. While he didn't take too many shots from the right side, that doesn't mean he can't score from there. In this area, you can compare his finishing to Diogo Jota, who often finds the back of the net with low-driven shots aimed at the far post. Just take a look at Chiesa's goal against Napoli, and you'll see what we mean. Chiesa is capable of finishing with both feet, and as we mentioned in our recent video, it took him between 6 and 10 shots to find the back of the net last season. Not too bad considering the positions he was shooting from. One final attribute worth mentioning is Chiesa's discipline out of possession. Yes, you heard that right. Juventus often deployed a 4-4-2 block when defending, and whether Chiesa was playing as one of the strikers or out wide, he consistently showed an understanding of which spaces to cover, when to press, and when to drop back to help. Chiesa's work rate is something that should never be questioned. He's relentless in pressing and never hesitates to track back. In fact, this is where we confirm that he hasn't lost his explosiveness, as we saw him burst into full speed to track back and defend during transitions. Now that we've covered Chiesa's attributes, let's dive into how he might fit into Arne Slot's plans. It's clear that Chiesa won't be a regular starter for two obvious reasons. First, his injury concerns. While we've argued that his availability isn't as bad as it seems, the physicality and intensity of the Premier League means it's better to be safe than sorry. The second reason is that Liverpool is already stacked in the attacking department. But for the sake of the video, let's explore how he might slot into the starting 11. For starters, Chiesa can still offer that transitional threat, just like Diaz, Jota, and Salah. He can be targeted with balls in behind when Liverpool decides to bypass the press with long passes. As we mentioned, his pace remains impressive, and his goal against Empoli is further proof of that. When it comes to the build-up phase, Chiesa can be a valuable asset. We've discussed their recurring pattern that Slot uses during games, the up, back, and through pattern. With Chiesa's ability to drop between the lines and receive on the half turn, he can be one of the key players to receive that initial up pass, lay it back, and then explode forward for the final through pass. He can also contribute by making third man runs while his teammates execute the up and back passes. This will be a crucial weapon, especially considering how Liverpool likes to bait the opposition's press, creating the space Chiesa can burst into. Moreover, his passing ability, which we highlighted earlier, can pose a significant threat. Whether he's on the right or the left, if Chiesa receives underlapping runs from the likes of Szoboszlai or the fullbacks, the potential to dominate the half spaces becomes frightening. And let's not forget his crossing ability, which can be a dangerous tool when targeting players like Van Dijk and Konate during set pieces. We briefly touched on Chiesa's out of possession discipline earlier, but this aspect of the game could be crucial, especially when the Reds are trying to shut things down defensively. His spatial awareness, pressing timing, and relentless work rate will only add more quality to Liverpool's defensive efforts, which have been significantly improving compared to last season. Now, don't get us wrong, we're not saying Chiesa is the ultimate solution to all of Liverpool's needs this transfer window. We still believe in number 6 and a left-footed centre-back are absolutely necessities. But for £10 million plus £2 million in add-ons, it's hard to find a better player who not only adds much needed squad depth, but also fits perfectly with Slot's philosophy. So what do you guys think? Are you excited about Chiesa signing for the football club? Do you think we covered all of his strengths? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's video, why not hit the like and subscribe button for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.